Okay, so today I'm here with my father and my sister. We are doing a video, and I'm going to ask him about his occupation. And what's your occupation?
I am a police officer.
Okay. And do you want to disclose where you worked at, or no?
I just work in the municipality in the St. Louis area.
Okay. And this is my sister. Are you a college student? I am a college student. I attend Harrison State University.
That question was so leading. You like, are you a college student? You just
Tell me something about yourself.
right.
I go to Harrison State University. My major is political science with a concentration on public law. I plan to go to law school after I finish my undergrad. And I go to St. Louis Community College, and I'm doing 2 years there. Then after I do my 2 years there, I plan to go into another university and finish off my major, which is still undecided, but we figured it out.
We need to get that together.
Okay, so to start this interview, tell me a little bit about yourself, Father.
Well, for those who don't know, like my lovely daughter said before, my favorite, Simone.
Now I got that question out of the way.
No. I am a police officer. I've been a police officer for 2.5 years. I am the loving father of 4, the husband of 1. You know, I have a lovely wife, Danielle, who you guys will be seeing her in the next video, the next release. And I just living and loving life, you know. Siblings, parents, love them all, you know. I have 5 siblings. Yeah, 5 siblings.
Don't forget 9, because
right.
one of them gonna get offended.
I'm not gonna name no names.
Yeah.
No, I know them. I have 5 siblings, and we all are older and getting to know each other on greater levels and loving one another and just spending my time enjoying me and my wife now that you guys are all grown up and trying to be grown. So
yeah, and that's one reason I decided to do this, to get to know my parents and my friends and family on a different level. Now that I have a grasp of what life is, I guess.
oh, okay, yeah.
So far.
Yeah. We all still learning. I'm
Right.
42 years old and I'm still learning.
Yeah. So let's dive right in.
Okay.
First question: what led up to you becoming a police officer?
Well, I was kind of already in the law enforcement field. I was a corrections officer at the time. I believe it was 2016. I believe at that point I had been a corrections officer for, I started since 2006. And not to sound cliche or anything, it was the whole Ferguson Mike Brown situation. And the disconnect that came to light from the black community and police officers. And I was just sitting at my job one night. I was on the midnight shift. I worked in the booking department. Wasn't much going on. We was all just sitting around, and the TV was on. I went to go feed. One of the inmates, and of course the TV was on in there, and they was talking about the black community and the disconnect with officers. And that just got me to thinking, like, you know, I'm from the black community. I'm kind of in law enforcement, but not in law enforcement as a corrections officer. And this would be the perfect opportunity to, I guess, to give to make my small contribution, whatever it may be, being from growing up in the inner city and knowing what it's like to, I'm gonna use my words right, knowing what it's like to grow up in a community where the police is looked at as the enemy. So I decided to, in my job, every year they pick out anywhere from 3 to 4 people to send to the police academy. So when the time came, which was probably like a month or two later, I threw my name in the boat, and I was after the interview process, I was number one on the list. So they sent me with 2 other people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does your wife, my mom, like or agree with your current profession?
My wife, your mom. You have to clear that up, huh? That my wife is your mom.
Yeah.
They know you my daughter.
I guess we discussed it.
I'm just just trying to liven it up a little bit. She does now. She does now. At first, she didn't. I first tried to go through the police academy, I want to say in 2010. And she was dead set against it. Called and told my mama on me. I was going to go to St. Louis City. I was going to fill out an application for their police academy. And she was not having it. It didn't really, I wouldn't say cause turmoil in our marriage, but she let it be known that she was totally against it and she didn't want that for me. And that was part of the reason why I didn't do it. You know, I don't have any regrets, and she actually did me a favor. You know what I'm saying? I feel that the police department that I'm with now is a better place for me. You know, we practice a lot on community policing and interacting with the community and things of that nature. And I feel that the department that I'm with benefits my skills.
What, how did y'all get to the point where mom was like, okay, I'm not fully okay with it, but I'm gonna let you do it and see where it goes?
We communicate. You just talk it out. You know, when you have 2 different, that's the great thing about marriage. When you find someone that's from a different background that may have been just because you're both African Americans, you may have been raised similarly, but you are still different. You know, I'm a male, she's a female. I have my parents who raised me, she has her parents who raised her. When you find someone that can, from 2 different backgrounds, that can love one another just because you're you. You know, no other reasons. She tell me all the time, marriage is for poor folks, cause you ain't got nothing to do but live off of love. You know, you ain't for the money, you ain't for the money, you ain't for the accolades or none of that. You just love off of love, and we just love one another to be one another. But to get back on the subject of why, we just communicate. We don't always agree, you know, but we don't let our disagreements get to the point where it causes turmoil in our overall relationship. You know, we just communicate. We talk it out, just like I said before. When I wanted to go, but didn't, you know what I'm saying? We talked it out. She called my mom on me, talked it out with her, you know, and I just chose to stay where I was at, you know what I'm saying? When it came back around, and that I was going to go back through, originally, I was working at St. Charles County, and when I told her they was going to send me, originally I was just going to stay there. But when I got into the police academy and all the training and things we were doing didn't really relate to what I would be doing in the prisons. So I was like, man, I need to try to get out and become a patrolman, get a job as a patrolman so that I could utilize some of this training that I'm receiving, because being an officer inside the jail, I was basically just still a corrections officer with a gun holster, you know, so. But we just talk it out, try to figure out at the time what was best for us as a family, because at the time you guys are still kids in the household. So we try to figure out what's best for us as a family and come up with a plan A and plan B. And that's what we did.
What is a typical day on the job like?
Typical day. Um, I'm just gonna go off a day shift because it's more going on because people are up. You come in. I leave all my uniforms and things at work in the locker room because I don't want to forget anything. You know, so I leave it all at work. And come in, locker room, got the guys in there that you on your crew that you work with. We all getting dressed, trying to get in the right frame of mind, loosen things up. We all laugh and talk. Somebody may have their music on. You can have anything from may have some rap, may have some country, may have some rock. You know, it just all depends on who turns their music on first, and then whoever got their music on, that's what we rock with. Just trying to get ourselves prepared, and we come in and got to be in roll call by 6:30 and on the streets by 7. You know, so we come in, we get dressed, get the roll call. Supervisor basically goes over what's been happening within the community for the last couple of days. He starts with the most current, which was the night before, and goes back probably about 2 or 3 days, depending if we're coming off our rest days, because that's what they call, because we always on call. If we're coming off our rest days, he gonna go over what happened the night before and what happened while we were on our rest days. We come out after roll call. If you haven't check your mailbox, check your voicemail, make sure that while you were off, you didn't get any important calls or any important mail. You go out, do a vehicle exchange with the officer that's coming off their shift, and you hit the streets. In the mornings, the first thing you want to do is you want to check your businesses. You know what I'm saying? Just in case something happened in between relief, or maybe just an officer may have missed something. You know what I'm saying? Your vision may have been better than theirs or something of that nature. You know, we can't be everywhere all the time. So, you know, sometimes we miss something, and it's better to have 4 eyes than 2. You know, so you check your businesses and things of that nature. I may give me a cup of coffee. I may not, just to have something to drink while I'm checking my businesses or whatever. If everything's fine with them, I want to hit my assigned district. You know, we got 7 districts within my municipality, and I want to hit my district, try to get a feel of what's going on, who's out, who do I see. You know, somebody may be lurking around trying to catch somebody going to work. We have a situation, especially in the wintertime, of course, people warming their cars up and leaving them unlocked. So want to make sure that's not going on and things of that nature. So you basically just hit the streets, get a feel of what's going on in your district, and see what you can see if anything looks out of place or anything suspicious of that nature, and wait for your calls. You know, calls can come out before you even get in your car. You can get in your car good. Somebody can be calling and things of that nature. So, yeah, just on the streets. Maybe if you see, we got a lot of people that do a lot of jogging and walking within the community. So, may stop and talk to them and things of that nature. Somebody at the Starbucks or something want to sit and talk about what's going on in the community, or thank us for doing a good job and things of that nature. So it's more so about just being visual.
Okay.
It's a job about just being visual and trying to see what's going on around you.
Do you get nervous when there are police involved shootings in the country where it gets very politicized and a lot of publicity?
I don't get nervous. I get I guess you could say I get sad. Not just because I'm in the profession. I mean, that plays a part. But I get sad, and I guess I don't know the word I'm looking for. Maybe you guys can help me out with it. I mean,
senses.
It does. It heights your senses a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But you go in, when you decide to go into the profession, you know what you signed up for in this day and age. So I'm not gonna really say it heightens my senses because I'm aware when I walk out the door every morning or every evening. You know what I'm saying? And my wife makes sure that because she kissed me before I leave, and every day she tells me to be safe. So when she tells me that, you know what I'm saying, that clicks in my mind of, you know what I'm saying, make it back home to my wife.
Yeah.
I don't want nobody to call my kids and have to tell them I need to come here, I need to talk to you, sit, have a seat, let me talk to you, to explain to them that their father's not around anymore, or their father has been killed in the line of duty or whatever. So I wouldn't really say it heights my senses, but it sends you on a roller coaster of emotions for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Because
It could have been you.
yeah, it could have been me, it could have been you. You know what I'm saying? The people sadly to say lose their lives every day, but most of the time it be senseless. You know what I'm saying? That's what bothers me the most. You know what I'm saying? They say they get killed in the line of duty, but is it really in the line of duty just because someone was at work? You know what I'm saying?
Do you think it's like senseless on both parts as well? Senseless on the victim and senseless on the...
No, I don't think. When I say senseless, it be something like most of the time it's just because people or that person had their own perception of the police, which was probably negative, you know, and they felt as though for whatever reason they wanted to take that person's life. You know what I'm saying? It could be something as simple as the police was trying to carry out their lawful duty, or it could be something as simple as a policeman sitting in his car at a light.
Yeah.
Things like that are very, very senseless to me.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know this person, but just because they wearing a certain uniform, you group them in with the rest, or with the crowd that you believe is doing wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not all college students are smart. Not all policemen are bad.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you can't group people in or stereotype people.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
Yeah, and but to get back to the question we was at, I just go through a roller coaster of emotions, you know what I'm saying? But then again, like I say, I know what I signed up for, you know what I'm saying? So I'm not, I'm not fearful, you know, I'm not scared or anything of that nature. Of course, in certain situations, your blood pressure rises, you know, but that's just human.
Yeah.
You know, that's just human, so.
Okay.
It's a day-by-day process.
Yeah. Do you work with a partner? If not, who's your favorite coworker and why? You don't have to say any names, but you can explain why they're your favorite coworker.
I do not work with a partner. You know, we are sometimes, depending on the situation, you may ride with someone. Maybe you got 3 or 4 cars in the shop at the same time, or somebody had an accident, and this car over here need an oil change, or whatever the case may be. So you may ride with someone, you know, for that shift or whatever. But more than likely, you're gonna ride by yourself. But depending upon the call, their dispatch is gonna send 2 officers. You know, if you have something like, of course, every traffic stop, they send a backup car to you. Anything domestic, they're gonna send 2 cars. You know what I'm saying? They send mostly 2 cars for everything except for like if you're going to assist the fire department or something like that. If you're going to assist, say you're going to assist the paramedics, they're gonna help lift somebody up that fell and couldn't get up. Yeah, they'll send 1 car. But mostly everything else, they're gonna send 2 cars, send you a backup officer. I don't think I really a favorite coworker. I have my favorite coworker. We'll just call her Pat. We just call her Pat.
A keep me on the path.
Yeah, she's older, and we work on the same crew. And the reason why I click so well with Pat is because, like I said, she's in her 50s, and she's had a long career, and she's worked and had different experiences. She's worked with different departments and have different experience. So for me coming in as an older officer, but yet new in the profession, she was very helpful and instrumental in me in my growth in the beginning, and as far as teaching me certain things to be aware of, and just what to expect of the job. Look out for these certain things, and she's easy to talk to, very friendly, you know, and she's someone you can go to bounce things off of. She's not gonna do your job for you, but she's gonna put you just bounce things off of. She'll give you her honest opinion about it. So I would have to say Pat.
How do you respond to police officers who unconsciously say offensive things about people in their community, or just like a group of people?
Okay, so when you say offensive, are we talking about racism or just stereotyping? What?
Let's say stereotype.
Stereotyping, I mean, as police, we are very normal. You know what I'm saying? I think people or the community get confused with that. You know what I'm saying? Because we're put in a position to protect and held at such a standard that we're not robots. You know what I'm saying? So, not speaking for all police departments or whatever, but we're a small department. We're close. So we interact and talk a lot. You know, but we do joke a lot also. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And to be a police officer, you have to have thick skin, because we joke a lot. You know, so but that makes our relationship all the more better, because if you don't have thick skin or something does offend you, you can just say it. You can talk it out with the person. Okay. It doesn't have to be no arguments and going back and forth, and then you can come to a person like, hey man, let me talk to you about such and such, such and such. You know what I'm saying? You said this or you did that. I can't rock with that. Right. You know what I'm saying? In the future, I appreciate if you wouldn't do such and such, such and such, such and such. That's just for me. You know what I'm saying? And more times than not, they gonna respect that. They gonna respect that. You know what I'm saying? I don't recall a situation where we don't get into knockdown, drag out arguments or fights in my department. We got different people from different ethnic backgrounds. Of course, we got the standard African American, Caucasian. We got Mexicans, Asians, Puerto Ricans. So we all understand that we just one big melting pot, and it's very very good and very educational, you know. But to those who may experience those things, I can't really speak on how they handle it or how people feel it should be handled. But at my department, we talk. Point blank, period. And if you can't handle a conversation, not a confrontation, but a conversation, then my department is not the place for you.
Mm-hmm. You know? What is the best part about your job?
Best part about the job? I'm gonna go with the standard of just helping people. That's the best part. Whenever you have a perfect stranger that you may not have helped, but somebody else within your department may have helped, come up to you and just be like, I want to thank you for all that you do. You know, she doesn't know I could be a total slug on the job. Bring a pillow to work and ride around in my patrol car with my shoes off. But just to have that appreciation, and for the record, I do not do that. Just to have that appreciation from your community, that's a great thing.
That's good.
Yeah, it's a great thing.
What is everything that goes / involve your uniform that goes with her? What's the uniform?
The standard uniform, of course, we wear the old school polyester pants, polyester shirt. It's supposed to keep you cooler in the summer and warmer in the winter. But in the winter, it does not. In the summer, it does not either. You know, we are trying to get our command staff to switch over to uniforms, but we're not having much luck because they don't want us to be in something that may be confrontational to the public.
What's confrontational?
They don't want to be looked at like, if you're in tactical gear, it may be somewhat of
threatening.
Yeah, threatening or
malicious.
But they want us to be. They don't want us to keep. They don't want us to be non-approachable.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're in that type of gear, they may you know,
I can see that.
But they want us to look like someone they can walk up and talk to and carry a conversation with.
Okay.
And things of that nature. So you got the pretty much standard day pants and shirt. You have your duty belt, which this is how much of a community-based department that we are. We don't carry tasers. You know, they want us to be able to talk in any situation.
So
Communications is the key.
Do you carry a gun?
Yeah, we carry a gun.
Okay.
We carry a gun. We carry pepper spray, handcuffs, magazines. So basically, how I set my belt up is that I'll just stand up and show you. So you basically have your belt, you put it on, you latch it up. I'm right-handed, so I have my gun here, and I have my magazines to my gun here.
Okay.
And I have it horizontal. That means that most people have theirs vertical, that stands up like that. I turn mine horizontal so that so if I pull and I have to reload, that I can just slide out, you know what I'm saying? So I got my magazine, my gun, and I have my asp. You guys know what an asp is? That's basically, that's the stick there that you do and it comes out, just in case you have to break some windows or things like that. Not what y'all thinking about.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I have my asp, you know what I'm saying? On this side, I have my pepper spray right here. I have, what do I have right here? Oh, my flashlight, one pair of handcuffs, and I also have a second pair of handcuffs next to my asp over here. So that pretty much is the duty belt. Like I said, we don't carry tasers. Belt keepers are something just like them snaps to keep your belt. You attach it to your belt to keep your belt from sagging down and things of that nature. And that's pretty much it.
What is the shoes you wear?
I go back and forth, you know what I'm saying? I'm a clean cut guy. So I have my pants, I took my pants to the tailor. Shout out to Miss Kern. Got my legs tapered, and I wear the Colorino dress shoes. You know, mostly throughout the year, unless it's snowing. If it's snowing, then I put on my Under Armour boots. Most comfortable boots I ever had in my life. You know, shout out to Tusi Norwood, my mama. She bought me them boots for my 42nd birthday. So that's what I wear. I go back and forth, but most of the time I wear the dress Clarinos because I like to look nice in my Class A uniform, my only uniform. So.
This is a very stereotypical question. Do you eat donuts and drink coffee on the job?
Well, I'm drinking coffee now, so I'm a coffee drinker, and I'm at home. So it ain't just a stereotype or cliche. I'm just a coffee drinker, but I do not eat donuts.
Have you ate a donut on the job?
Have I ate a donut on the job?
Watch out now.
Mom, don't walk around
You
that
got
way,
to.
Mom. Walk around that way. That's my mother-in-law, y'all.
I just want y'all to go. I'm doing something good.
Mom, come here. Come here. Say hi to the camera. Show the camera what you're doing. Come around here.
Where the camera at?
It's right there. Turn around. Look. I got my mother-in-law. She putting. You see the camera right here? Look. You see it right there?
Hold up the shirt.
Look what she doing. She getting me together for the work day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
That's what I want you to know it.
All right. All right.
That's
Thank you.
Thank you, Mom.
yeah, you're welcome.
Sounds good though. But have you ate a donut on the job?
That's why I want you to see. I got something on this, not these. Yours is going up, down.
All right.
I mean,
Just leave it in there. I'll come get it.
yeah.
All right. Thank you.
I just want you.
I've ate a donut or two on the job.
Let it be known. Police officers do drink coffee and eat donuts on the job.
Ain't no lie against that.
What has been one of your most emotional arrests? That's a good question.
Emotional?
Yeah. What? Ooh, that's a good question.
Let me see. Emotional. I don't really get emotional unless it's involving kids.
Mm.
If it's involving kids, no matter if it's an arrest or a crime against a child, that's the really only time I get emotional. As far as being maybe upset at the situation, or just maybe feeling a sadness and a sympathy, which we're really trained not to do.
Mm.
We're more of a empathy-based job, but I really can't say I've had an arrest. Sometimes you have an arrest where you be like, man, this ain't right. The laws could be different, but the laws are what they are. So, we're here to enforce them.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to carry it out. But I really don't really get emotional, like I said, unless it's involving children.
Okay. What do you think your expectations are in society being a Black police officer?
My expectations?
Mm-hmm. What do you think people expect from you being a Black police officer today?
It all depends on who the person is. Most African American people feel as though we have a certain right to let them get away with things because we're African American also, Like I say, I deal in my department and where I work. It's a big melting pot. So I deal with Black people, white people, Asians, Philippine, Jewish, Italian. You know what I'm saying? It's a real big melting pot. So I think it all depends on who we're speaking on. You know what I'm saying? For the most part, I'm not going to say people don't see color because I'm not inside people's heads or households, but they don't show it. For the most part, my community just want to be protected.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to see us there. They want to see us out. Like I said, we talk to people. We walk and talk and things of that nature. So I just think they just feel as though they want to be protected. They want to see our faces. So I don't really get any. I haven't experienced a situation where they, and when I say they, I mean the community, didn't want us around.
Okay.
We're pretty much appreciated. Could it be better? Yeah. Have I seen better? Yeah. But it's life. It's a work in progress.
Second part to my first question. Well, not the first question. The question before.
What question was that?
What was your most emotional arrest?
Okay.
This question is, what was your most outlandish or weird arrest?
Let me think for a second. Most outlandish arrest.
Haven't had anybody running naked.
Yeah, that would be a
Nah, I haven't had anybody running naked, but I did arrest a guy who boo-booed on himself.
Oh no.
I did arrest a guy
Oh my God.
who, by the time when I arrested him, he didn't. He had to do it on the way to the station. And when we got in the station, we got inside the station, and I was patting him down. He was like, "Man, before you pat me, because before we put everybody in the holding cell, we had to pat him down again." And I went to go pat him down. He like, "Man, hold on." You know what I'm saying? I used the bathroom on myself before, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
Yeah, so that was the weirdest,
Was he drunk?
nastiest. Nah.
Was he like nervous?
He was,
Or just like, couldn't hold it?
Was he drunk? I'm not gonna say he was drunk. He maybe was,
Under the influence?
he was definitely, I don't know if he was under the influence of something, but he was definitely, acting peculiar. It could have been some mental health issues behind that, or that he did end up going to the hospital or whatever for a psyche valve. Could have been some mental health issues behind that, but I'm glad he warned me before I went down and put my face. Or paddled down and felt something squishy. Yeah.
How old were you when you became a police officer, and did your age affect in a positive way or negative way?
I was 40 years of age, and it was a positive because, and even my my command staff, even when they hired me, they was like, "Man, you're gonna be a good asset because of your life experiences." You know, your children are older, you have experience with dealing with kids, and you're not scared to talk with people and things of that nature. So it was mainly a positive. I mean, I'm in great shape. I'm in better shape than most of not to brag on myself or anything, but I'm in better shape than, I'm gonna say, probably. We just hired a lot of new young people, so I'm gonna say probably 80 to 85% of our officers.
Oh wow.
You know, there's no one in my age bracket in better shape than me. I'm 42, about to be 43, so I would say we'll go 5 years before. We'll say from 38 to what, 47.
What's your best mile time?
My best mile time? You mean like period, or what's my mile time right now?
Recently, like right now.
Oh, recently right now? I'm like at anywhere from 10 to 11 minutes.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
I'm 42. You know what I'm saying?
I'll take that.
And I haven't been at my peak when I came into the police academy. You know, I ran my mile and a half. I did my mile and a half in 11 minutes.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I've slowed down a little bit, you know, just with working and not running as much, you know what I'm saying, for a
That's
while.
still impressive.
I had stop but yeah, I'm good. I mean, it was I would say it was a plus being the age I was at. It could be looked at as a negative too, because I only have so much time left, you know what I'm saying, to come in. It's a great profession to come in at 20, 24. You can do your 25 years and go on to a second career and probably do another 20 years at that. You know what I'm saying? That's the negative that I look at. You know what I'm saying? But I'm thankful and grateful to be in the position I am in now and try to make the best of it. Yep.
Do you get any negative backlash being a black officer?
From who?
Just
people in general.
Yeah.
Like I say, most of the time, to be honest, the backlash is from my own people when I do receive it. To be honest with you, I hate that it's that way, but the African American community that I work with, for the most part, feel as though as a black officer, I owe them something. I owe them a break, or I should cut them a break because of who they are and who I am. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're both African American, of the African American race, but that don't automatically deserve me. That don't automatically get you to make you have to get a break or cut a break just because of that.
Right.
You
Because
know
you
what I'm
have
saying?
a job to
Yeah,
do.
it's a very discretionary job. You know what I'm saying? If I come across, just a small example, if I come across African American person, say expired plates, and it's 2020, but your plates expired in 2018. You think I should cut you a break just because you're African American? Nah, you gonna get this ticket because you've been riding on these plates for 2 years, and you have an ample amount of time to get it taken care of.
Yeah.
So, but they'll get mad at you. They'll get mad at you. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And not to put it all on them too. I mean, I had, matter of fact, just 3 weeks ago, I was on a detail. We have a certain part of the area in our community where we have a lot of foot traffic, and people are not adhering, or drivers are not adhering to the law, to the crosswalk laws. So they put me on the detail. You just watch the crosswalks to make sure that people are not almost getting hit by cars, or make sure the drivers are just adhering to the law. So if we're not around, they'll still stop. You know, and I had a guy who, a person was in the middle of the crosswalk, and he went right through, you know. So I wrote him a ticket, and he felt as though I shouldn't have because he had stopped every other time before, you know. And this was a Caucasian guy, you know what I'm saying. And he kept on saying, no disrespect, officer, but you're wrong for writing me this ticket. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so, you know, that's the job.
Do you hang out with your coworkers outside of work? You kind of answered this question, but can you want to?
Not really. Every once in a while when we playing, the job really, not that you don't want to, but the job really don't allow you to. The hours that you put in, it really doesn't allow you to. Every once in a while, we try to plan a day to just get together and relax. But I've only been able to go one time, I believe, because if I'm not working, my regular shift or working overtime, then you know I have to make time for my family and friends. So the job really doesn't allow you to, but when it does, we try, and of course sometimes everybody makes it, sometimes others don't. So.
Do you have any family members or friends that disagree with your profession?
If they do, I ain't gonna say they really. Yeah, they disagree with my profession. They don't disagree with the fact that I'm a police officer. They just have they experiences and their outlook on policing as a whole is just different. It's not good. You know what I'm saying? But they don't judge me by the acts of other people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They just feel as a whole that police are more so negative than positive. Which I have a family member. We get into not really arguments, but debates. We get into debates about certain things and laws and you know what I'm saying, what goes on, you know what I'm saying. But that doesn't just like with us, you know what I'm saying. That's just our outlook on things. You know what I'm saying. Everybody deserves their opinion, and you have your debates and you speak your part and they speak their part. But for the most part, I get nothing but positivity and love for being a police officer for my family and friends. because they know who I am as a person.
Yeah.
You know, so nothing but love.
Okay. Explain or describe the best day you ever had at work. Good question.
The best day I ever had at work.
What is the day you came home like, I had a great day at work?
I'm gonna tell you, this was a great day at work. So I'm at work, and like I say, I was actually on night shift. So night shift start all the times at 6:30. You get roll call at 6:30, streets by 7.
Okay.
The only thing difference is in the mornings is AM, in the evenings is PM. I hit the streets. I'm rolling around, and I get a call. I forgot what the call was, but I'm out looking for the address, and one of my high school friend's sister drives by, and she's like, I'm like, hey, what's up, Sean? And I ain't seen you in a while. And she's like, hey, what's up, T? You looking for Tony's daughter? And I'm like, nah. She's like, yeah, she missing. I'm like, I didn't get a call. And this in my district, you know what I'm saying? I say, I didn't get a call. But to make a long story short, they had put the call, it was at shift change. So the officer before me that was working the district had got the call, but I didn't know that. And so to sum it all up, I call it in because she's a juvenile with a mental illness background. You know what I'm saying? She has certain medications she had to take by certain times and things like that. And this was at like 7:30, and we ended up finding her, or our detectives ended up finding her like probably at about 11:30, 12:30.
Mm-hmm.
She had caught the bus to, no, she had rode a bike, one of them line bikes that you rent.
Mm-hmm.
She had got one of them bikes and rode it down to St. Louis City to one of her family members' house or some friend's house or something. But the fact, and this whole time, I'm with my high school friend, who was one of my best friends, and
Try to
go that way,
try
man.
to- Yes, I'm going
Okay.
that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta excuse me for a minute because when I say my high school friend, he since passed away. And I think about times, I think about him and the times we had together just playing ball and being kids and growing up. And I think about that time where we were out searching for his daughter. We searched every store, every house, every part, you know, and to, for them to be able to find her unharmed, safe, and to see the look on his face when they brought his daughter to him was priceless. You know, and I think about that all the time, just for the simple fact that he's not here anymore, and you got certain things in life that you take for granted at the time that it's happening, and you never really know. You know what I'm saying? That was the last time you would be with a person. You know what I'm saying? But for that last time to be with a person and to have it end in a positive manner of him being able to be reunited with his daughter, like I say, unharmed, safe, was great.
That's a beautiful memory.
Yeah. So that was one of the times. Like I said, at the time when I came home, I was like, man, we dodged one today. You know what I'm saying? I felt good, and I came home and I was telling your mom about it. And I was like, man, it was just good to see him back with his daughter, just from going to seeing the anguish on his face and the hurt and the fear on his face, to seeing the joy of being reunited with his daughter, like I said, unharmed, was great. So that was a great day at work.
How much longer do you see yourself in this field?
I'm gonna do about another 20, 25. Like I said, I'm in the best shape of my life. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm not in the best shape of my life, but I'm in good shape. And I'm in good health, no medications. You know what I'm saying? I mean, of course, you're getting older, my mind don't move as quick as it used to, but I'm in a good place, you know what I'm saying? And I don't want to be the type, I'm not going to just sit around, you know, I'm used to working, you know what I'm saying? And my wife has very expensive taste, so that's going to keep me working.
Me too.
So that's going to keep me working. And I just feel as though I can do it I can do it at least until I'm 65.
Okay.
At least.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Has becoming a police officer made you a better person? If so, how? If you feel like you're the same, then explain how you're the
No,
same person.
I feel like I feel like it has, because I've experienced. I feel like it's made me a better person in how I handle life situations. I'm not gonna say I hadn't experienced a lot of things, because I had experienced a lot of things before, just in my life coming up from adolescence to adulthood. But the thing that I've learned from being a police officer is that it's proven to be it's helped me grow as a person. I'm in a profession where the divorce rate is high, suicide rate is high, you know, and it's helped me to I guess to take a deeper look at myself and to know what it is that I want out of life and what it is that I don't want out of life. You know what I'm saying? It's caused me to have a better connection with myself mentally. I don't want to be a statistic. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to end up in a divorce. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to end up an alcoholic. Things of that nature. So it has caused me to take a better look at myself and to realize some of my faults. You know what I'm saying? I'm always a person, I've never been afraid to take any type of constructive criticism. You know, but like I said, if it's a criticism to help me better myself, then I'm all for it. But if it's just something that you're just saying just to talk or to be hateful, then I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
But this job has helped me take a better look at myself and a closer look at myself, just so I can understand what it is that I'm trying to achieve in life in general. You know, I don't want to, like I say, I don't want to be a statistic. I don't want my marriage to end. I don't want to lose contact with my children. I don't want to seclude myself and it's just me and a bottle, or it's just me and whatever drug, or me and a needle, or whatever it is. No, I still want to be out. I still want to socialize, things of that nature. I don't want to change into somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And this job could have that effect on you. It could be very stressful if you let it. You know. So what I try to do is just continue to be myself. Don't seclude myself. Don't get so caught up in the job. Still be interactive with my family and friends and the people that I know keep me grounded. So, yep.
I personally know that you police in an area that you grew up in. How do you feel about police officers that police an area they didn't grow up in, and how do you? Yeah.
I mean, I think for the most part, it's everybody can't work where they grew up in. But for me personally, I would like for it to be that way. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna really say I would like for it to be that way totally, but I would like a good balance.
Right.
You know, because I worked in a place when I was a corrections officer, that I was a corrections officer for St. Louis City, and you had to stay in the city. And when you have friends and family watching over friends and family, it can get a little dicey. You know what I'm saying? It can get a little dicey. I had a woman go off on me so bad one time because in the city we used to have roll call too, and her son, he was a convicted murderer, but he came back. He was appealing his case, and they said in roll call, do not. They told the lady, do not go to the unit, and she came to the unit anyway, and I wouldn't let her in. You know what I'm saying? Now she got a full blown attitude and problem with me, cuss me out up and down. Another example, just because you're black and I'm black, that I should adhere or I should break the rules for you. You know what I'm saying? Nah, lady, it's not happening. And I finally had to tell her, look, because I'm talking to the speaker at the door. I'm like, look, if you don't leave the unit, I'm gonna be forced to call the supervisor. I'm not letting you in. Let's just leave it there. You can say and do whatever you want to do and say. I'm not letting you in. You know, but what was your question again? They got me.
How do you feel
about policing your own community? Yeah, lost my train of thought. See, that's that old age I was talking about. I think it should be a good balance. I think that just to keep it simple, blacks patrolling white neighborhoods and whites patrolling black neighborhoods, it could be difficult because I didn't grow up in a white neighborhood,
right?
So I don't really understand their culture totally. And vice versa.
Right.
For white people that didn't grow up in black neighborhoods, they don't really understand the culture. But not that we can't learn,
Right.
but we have to have someone there to help us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where it comes in. You got to have that balance. You know what I'm saying? Like in my department, we have synagogues, we got Scientology, Baptist churches, churches of God, you know what I'm saying? So you have to be able to be versatile in the people that you police. You know what I'm saying? You have to be willing to learn and learn. You don't have to really learn the background, but you got to be willing to learn the type of people that you're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? One time I went on a call. It was a bar mitzvah, you know what I'm saying? There was a noise complaint, you know what I'm saying? And that situation, I couldn't speak with just, when you come to a Jewish household, you have to speak to the head of the household, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't know that, you know what I'm saying? So but I have to understand what's going on, that it's just not an average party. They just not out here celebrating, just having a barbecue because it's Saturday.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying? So to be able to speak with the head of the household and understand what's going on, and you know what I'm saying, and he was real good about it. He wanted to be able to respect his neighbors also, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't feel comfortable with just telling him to stop because of what he was celebrating. So it's more of a case where you just try to get with both parties and tell the party, the guy who's having the bar mitzvah, hey, I don't want to tell you to stop, but just could you quiet it down, or have your guests quiet it down just a little bit, and try to get with the caller and explain to them, like, look, this is a bar mitzvah. Your neighbor understands your complaint about the noise, and they agree that they'll quiet it down if you can just work with them for the next 30, 45 minutes. And it turned out good. So,
that's good.
But you have to be able to, you got to be versatile in your policing. I think our officers, especially, like I say, if you working in a community where it's a background that you didn't come from and you're not familiar with, you have to be versatile and be able to communicate while you end up in certain situations where people might be getting their rights violated. Not to say that it doesn't happen, because it does. And and sometimes it's unknowingly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the question you guys asked earlier about, do you have officers that unknowingly say stereotypes, or officers who unknowingly may say racist things? You know what I'm saying? It could be that their people are just racist,
Right.
or it could be that they just ignorant to what's going on because they wasn't raised in that type of environment.
Right.
So,
Have you ever seen a dead body on the job? Explain the situation.
I've seen a couple dead bodies. You
What
know
was
what I'm
that
saying? You got
Okay, what was the first dead body you seen on the job, and what was your most recent?
the first dead body was this older man.
I'm not trying, but I'm just gonna read. I'm just gonna do the thing that's in there. I watch
Okay.
Texas.
The first dead body I seen was and it made my FTO, my field training officer, hot because it was my first day on the job.
Wow.
And the officer, it wasn't in our district. It wasn't that. But when you field training, they call it jumping calls. You're supposed to take certain calls so that the person you train to get experience in all different type of things. But he didn't jump the call. It was a sick case where they found a guy in his house. He had been dead for maybe like a week, just a natural. It ended up being just natural causes. But he didn't jump the call because it was my first day. And he was like, I'm not gonna leave a dead body or expose you to a dead body on your first day. But the supervisor made him take the call. So we had to go in the dead body. This guy was stiff as a board. And he had failed. I don't know where he was, his house, it looked like he had left his house maybe in years. But he was dead on the steps, stiff as a board, and it looked like he was trying to pull his underwear up. But that's just how he was with his hands on his underwear, and his underwear like halfway up.
That's a horrible way to die.
On the steps, in the house by himself. You know, and we it was hard for us to find the next of kin.
Yeah.
And this guy was loaded. You hear me? We found like investment papers and stuff with accounts 4 million, 2 million.
Oh my God.
Yeah. He had money just hanging around. I think we found like $1,500 in cash just on his dresser or something. He was loaded. And like we couldn't find the next of kin.
So, in that situation, what if they give us that all that money? If they can't find the next of kin, is it find a keeper?
I don't know that. Right? Me, I found it. Are you doing this interview in this living room right now? Then it's not finders keepers. Then it's not finders keepers. That's up to the investment company. I don't know, but the cash on hand, we take that and put it into evidence.
Evidence for what?
Yeah. I mean, somebody might come and claim it. Even if we're not able to find the next of kin, if the coroner's office later on down the line is able to find somebody, we able to find somebody later on down the line, they can come and claim it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But that was my first on the first day.
And most recent?
Most recent was pretty much like it is a sudden death. You know, a guy, he stayed in an apartment by himself. He had past history of mental illness. His mother came by to check up on him, and he was in his bed, deceased. You know, his house was so hot, so hot, and that was a sudden death where I was there almost half the shift because they didn't have anything in place, and the coroner's office wouldn't come get the body because of the information that I gave them over the phone. They deemed that it was natural causes. If there was no foul play or anything like that, you give them just a background of what you found, what whoever the person that found them, what they told you, any type of medications they may have been taking, and things like that. And as long as you don't find any bruises or any stabbings or any shootings on the body, most of the time it's going to be just a sudden death. It's just gonna be natural causes, especially if they was in the house by themselves. You know, and so the coroner wouldn't come and get them because they had already had. They just didn't have space for him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? His mother didn't have any insurance policy. So it was real hard to find someone to come and get the body. She was trying to donate the body to charity for, not to charity, but what did they call it? Science, you know, called WashU, called UMSL. But that's something, they were saying that was something that he would have had done, signed off on while he was living. You know what I'm saying? That's not something that you can just do after a person dies, which was educational. So we finally found and she was like, I don't have any money, things of that nature. But we finally found a funeral home that would work with her as far as payments and the price and things of that nature. And it took like 5 or 6 hours.
So you don't have to sit in an apartment with him?
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Wow.
He was in his bed, and what actually took longer too was while I was conducting my investigation, the mother wanted to go tell the sister because the sister didn't have a phone. So she ended up leaving to go tell the sister the situation, which I can't say, nah, don't leave. You know what I'm saying? You just had it. Which I just told her, I understand that your son just died and you might not want to be driving because of where your mind is and your emotions and things of that nature, but she just insisted that she had to tell her sister. She couldn't wait, so she ended up leaving and she was gone for like maybe 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? Which was fine at first because like I say, during the investigation you have to look around and see if there's any foul play. You have to roll the body. If they on their front, you gotta roll them onto their back to make sure, check the body, make sure, like I say, there's no punctures or anything. If they on their back, you gotta roll them to the front, things of that nature. So that was my last day of body. I had a body that we thought was ours, but it was right on the borderline between us and St. Louis City, and it ended up being there. A guy, he had made him a little home in some bushes, and he was using, he was a heroin addict, and he died. He still had a needle in his arm.
Oh no.
Yeah. So he had got a car seat, took a seat out of the car. I guess that was his bed, and he had little boxes set up, I guess, and he had his clothes neatly folded inside these boxes. He had set them up a little, it was the summertime, of course, and he had set them up a little apartment behind these bushes. So that was kind of, to come up on the scene, and you have to be careful, because when you come up on the scene, you don't know why he died, what's the cause behind it, did somebody shoot him, or are they still on the scene? Be careful where you step, because you don't want to mess up any evidence and things like that. So that was kind of, but it ended up, I didn't see that one all the way through because it ended up being St. Louis cities, but that was very educational to have to deal with do the prep work for it.
Do you have any humbling experience from being a police officer?
I don't know if it's humbling, but like I say, anytime I deal with children, it reminds me of you guys, and it reminds me of your sister and brother. You know, it put things in perspective. You know what I'm saying? It scares you, and it makes you grateful at the same time that all my children are still here. You know what I'm saying? So I guess it's humbling in the sort, but like I say, it puts life in perspective. You know what I'm saying? Because you, to have to deal with someone that we may be looking for your son or daughter for murder, or your son and daughter for assault, or your son and daughter, or you go into a house and the daughter has got beaten up by a boyfriend, and her mother is cussing her out, and she's cussing her mother out, and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? That kind of puts things in perspective because that's not what go on in everyday life for us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Things could have been different. You know, if I had been raised different. You know what I'm saying? I didn't grow up in a household where my parents cursed me out. You know what I'm saying? Did I get disciplined? Yes. Do you guys get disciplined? Yes. You know what I'm saying? But for me, when you're dealing with children and things that may be going on in the household that you have to report, I never hesitate and report.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Even after we go through the things that we went through as a family, you know what I'm saying? I still believe in the process. You know what I'm saying? So whenever I feel as though a child, I don't care how minor it is. The other day I had a child who walked out, him and the family was in the kitchen eating dinner, and he walked out, just, you know, he walking around the house, I think he's like 4 years old, eating his dinner in his hand. He don't want to sit down, he crying a lot, so she get him down and let him walk around and eat his dinner. Where he walked in the dining room and drank some bleach water.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Ended up vomiting. She didn't know until he started vomiting. He ended up being all right. You know what I'm saying? Paramedics came, checked him out. He was all right and things of that nature. She didn't want to take him to the hospital. We kind of found out she didn't want to take him to the hospital out of fear of being reported.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to make her understand that everybody in this room with a uniform on is mandated to report. So it doesn't matter. Don't let that be the reason why something happens to your son that's even more extensive than what's going on now.
Mm-hmm.
Be cautious. Take the precaution of taking them to get checked out because it's going to get reported.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be something you should be worried about.
Yeah.
What you should be worried about is your son.
Right.
You know, and you don't want to sit up in the house and 3-4 hours now when y'all asleep, he ends up dying from having a seizure, and you don't know because you're sleeping. You know, so take him to the hospital and get him checked out. It's gonna get reported, and if you're a good parent, it'll be all right.
Yeah, mistake happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about your most dangerous encounter at this job or any job in the past.
Well, my most dangerous job is St. Louis City Corrections.
That just sound dangerous.
Yeah. I was on the response team one time, and we had to go in. Now, mind you, in St. Louis County, I left this out on the, which I don't know how. In my job now as a police officer, I get to wear a vest. You know what I'm saying? Under my uniform. I get to wear a bulletproof vest under my uniform. And like I said, you have certain things on your belt. St. Louis City, you didn't have nothing. All you put on your uniform and some handcuffs.
This is a correctional officer.
Yeah, this
Back in what year?
This is when did I work there? 2011 to 2012. My time was very short. I probably did a little bit over a year or a little bit under a year. I had did like maybe 15 months, something like that. Let me see. Yeah, I probably did like 15, 14 months or something like that. But I walked in the unit one time where dude was standing on the table. He had, I don't know what he had on him. He had greased himself down. I'm guessing, I don't know. Yeah, I'm guessing it was Vaseline. And he took a board. He had a board, a tubing board that he had took from like in a day room. It was like a sink or something that they had never removed. He broke that down and took one of the boards and had nails at the tip of it. And then he had another board with a rope or a string or something, and some type of object. Was it another? It probably was a block of wood or something. But he was twirling it. He had that board with the nail in his hand, and he had that other board with the string. And he was just twirling, standing on the top of the table.
I'm not getting him. Let him do his thing.
He ready. Come and get me. And the thing about St. Louis City, the supervisors carry pepper spray. You know what I'm saying? But once they spray it, you got to go in. You know what I'm saying? You got to go in, and it's in the air.
What type of?
So you got to prepare yourself. But we had when you see something like that, usually when you respond, depending on what's going on, you just go. You know what I'm saying? If it's a fight, you just go. But if it's something like they know, they not look down, they like this fool in here with 2 2x4s, and he ready to go. Yeah. So they'll give you time. They be like, suit up. You know what I'm saying? So you get on your little arms and your helmet and your chest, and that's when you go in, and I don't think he hit nobody. I think he swung it, but he couldn't see. You know what I'm saying? So he just once you go in, once he starts swinging, you go in with that shield first. Boom, hit him with that shield, and he flew off the table. And you have somebody, you know what I'm saying, you surround him, so he just don't fly off the table and hit his head or nothing. Mm-hmm. You surround the table, you know what I'm saying, and he just a swinging. that was dangerous, you know what I'm saying. The other night, this happened last week, we get a call for a suspicious subject maybe going through open car doors, you know what I'm saying, they call it pulling door handles. So we get there, and I'm coming up the street. I'm coming from the west. Another unit coming from the east, and he says, he tells me on the radio, I seen a guy knelt down behind a burgundy van on the north side of the street. So I said, okay. So when I pull up, I stop from the fireplace. We got this much for a distance, you know what I'm saying? And I'm
about 15, 20 feet.
Yeah. Because they tell you to maintain, just in case somebody got a knife, they tell you the distance you want to maintain is at least 20 feet to be able to, so if they charge you, you have enough time to draw your weapon or whatever. So I maintain that distance, and I'm like, hey man, what you doing? So stand up, show me your hands. He don't want to show me his hands. He's standing in the back of the car. It's a van with the doors that open like this. He's standing up, and he in the back of the car. So at this point, I got to pull my gun. I'm like, show me your hands, show me your hands. Still don't want to show me his hands. So the officer, we got another officer that's responding. He come behind me, and then you got the officer that was coming from the east. He come around, and I'm steady like, show me your hands, show me your hands. He finally goes out. He finally comes out after about, I don't know how many times. I told him like 10 times. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this you city police, show me your hands. He's trying to act like, he always was trying to hide something. So he finally put his hands up. So he at the back of the car. So when he put his hands up, that's when I put my weapon up and I go to make contact. So I'm like, he trying to slide. He like, what's going on? But he trying to slide from the back of the van to the front of the van now. So when I stop him, I'm like, I'm gonna put you in cuffs, woo woo. So put his hands behind his back. When I go to put his cuffs on, he pulls and try to run. You know what I'm saying? So when I grab him, and now we wrestling and I take him to the ground, he don't want him to get put in handcuffs. We started racing, and the guy that is with me, he's a trainer, so he does have a taser. You know what I'm saying? Our trainers, FTOs, they carry tasers. So he like, man, stop resisting. I'm gonna tase you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm steady, me and this other dude, we started wrestling. I'm like, if you gonna tase him, you know? But he didn't end up tasing him. And then when we get the, I'm putting the cuffs on him. Normally we cuff in the back. But when I'm wrestling with a dude, I'm just gonna put him on with you. If you up under your knees or whatever, I'm just gonna put him on you just to get you detained or whatever. He's like, no, don't put him in the front. Dude, you're not down here wrestling with this.
It made me feel strong.
So we end up putting him on in the front, come to find out he had like 2 knives on him or whatever. And he wasn't, I don't know, he wasn't stealing nothing. It was his girlfriend's car. And but why he was definitely trying to hide something. You know what I'm saying? And when we get him in the car, finally, we end up talking to her, and she's like, I just came over here, which the story was, it was some bullshit. I could have took it farther than I could have took it farther than it did, as far as, she didn't want to let us search the car. When it was obvious, I knew that he was hiding something in the car. You know what I'm saying? But she was like, I just came over here to pick up my daughter. He was getting some tools out of the car. The tools fell. He was picking them up. And there was another guy on the side taping. And he was screaming, yeah, this such and such police department, they out here beating on people, and this is what they do, and such and such, such, such. So we eventually, I couldn't even talk to her for him screaming. You know what I'm saying? So my supervisor went over and told me, like, look, man, we got no problem with you recording, but you gonna stop doing all this yelling and screaming so we'll be able to conduct our business and get out of the way. If not, then we gonna lock you up for disturbing the peace. You know what I'm saying? Because we can't conduct our business and do what we need to do for all the screaming that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So he ended up, his mother ended up coming down like, "Well, get your butt down here. You're gonna be getting knocked up next," and stuff like that. He's like, no, Mom, I'm staying here. I'm just keep recording, but I ain't gonna say nothing. Like, that's fine. You record. That's fine. Just, you know what I'm saying? But ended up talking to her. It was like maybe 2 in the morning, and she had a daughter out with her. She was like 2 or 3 years old, and things of that nature. So we was like, look, just get in your car, go home. You ain't got no warrants, so letting you free to go. So that was a high stressful situation. That's actually that's the first time I pulled my weapon, but that's the first time I pulled my weapon because of the situation, not knowing when he turned around what he was gonna have. So, and the fact that he was he didn't want to, you know what I'm saying? He was very non-compliant in the directives that he was being given. So that was kind of a high stressful situation for about. It was more high stressful not knowing what he was gonna have when he turned around than actually wrestling, trying to get him in cuffs and things of that nature. Because I've been down that road many times, working in the jails or whatever, or prison. So just not knowing what he was gonna have when he turned around, or whether or not having to make the decision coincide with what you see and what you do. Am I gonna have to pull this trigger? What am I looking for once he turned around? They always teach us look at the hands, because that's where it all starts from. So that's the first thing I do is look at the hands. Show me your hands. Show me your hands. Because I don't really care about you running or nothing like that. I mean, either I'm gonna chase you, either you gonna get away, or I'm gonna catch you. You know what I'm saying? So, but them hands, got to see those.
I know you mentioned earlier you get emotional when you have a situation that involves kids. And this next question is, have you ever had to arrest a kid?
Yeah, you get fights at the high school. It's not, it's an arrest, but it's not an arrest. Okay. You take them into custody, and depending upon how old they are, in high school you get put in cuffs. Okay. You know what I'm saying? In high school you get put in cuffs. I've had several different situations. Most of the time you take them to the station, you fill out a form called F11 with all the information, what school they go to, what they're being charged with, and you call their parents. Okay. Yeah, parents come and get them, you send the F11 off to St. Louis County, and they decide whether or not they're gonna pursue it or not. If it's not a situation where they've assaulted someone with a weapon and things of that nature, and then the juvenile system, you gotta damn near murder somebody to get them to take it in. They go by a point system, and depending upon if you're, they got certain points for each crime, and depending upon if you reach their mandatory limit on whether or not they take you into juvenile. I had, not me per se, but in the department we've had kids get caught with guns. may have shot at someone but didn't hit them, things of that nature. And juvenile release them to their parents.
Wow.
You take them in. All you do is do the pre-screening, the pre-booking, and things of that nature. Get them type out your report on their computer, and now we can't even at a certain age. I want to say it's 12. You can't interview them.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Anything, and if they over that age and you are able to interview, their parents have to be their I guess quote unquote advocate or attorney. More like it's gonna be an advocate.
Mm.
They have to be there. So it's an arrest, but it's not an arrest.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You just basically taking them from the scene. Most of the time, kids act up on the school bus, things like that. We'll take them off the school bus, take them home, fill out the form, have their parents sign the form saying that we released them to them, and that'd be pretty much it.
Mm.
You know, more serious things, you take them down to juvenile, you do the pre-screening, the booking, and it's up to juvenile whether or not they stay or they go.
Okay. What do you do outside of work? Like, what's your typical off day like? That's my next question.
Resting. Especially if I'm on midnight shift. If I'm on midnight shift, the day I get off that morning, I'm sleeping all day. Like I say, I worked Sunday night, got off Monday morning, I slept all day Monday. Today, this is what I do. I'm gonna spend time with y'all. I gotta make time for my wife on my off days because our schedules don't allow us to really to be together when I'm on night shift. Because when she at home, I'm at work. And when she at work, I'm at home. So my off days, I try to spend, when I'm on day shift, I'm gonna spend at least one day with her. If it's the weekend, I don't do no overtime. I don't take on no extra shifts on the weekends because that's when she off.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take on no extra days, so we'll be able to spend some time together. We may go to a brunch. I may get with my father, my brother. We may go out to a cigar bar or something, just sit back, chill, get some testosterone time. You know what I'm saying? And you know, may get with some friends depending upon what's going on. Watch a fight. You know what I'm saying? It's just all about, at this point in my life, it's all about family and friends. You know what I'm saying? I don't indulge in the BS.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I don't indulge. I'm not a club person. I'm not a bar person unless I'm going to watch a fight. You know what I'm saying? I don't go, if I'm going to the bar, I'm going to watch a fight. Hold on, man. We'll get with you in a minute.
Oh, no.
Okay, all right. If I'm going to a bar, I'm going to watch a band, or I'm going to watch a fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's that. That's what I do in my free time. You know what I'm saying? Any chores or something like going on. My wife is very creative in finding house activities for me to do. Her mind is always thinking about decorating and rehabbing and stuff like that. So that'd be my free time.
If you could be a police officer in any other state, where would it be and why?
In any other state.
Mm-hmm. Or anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I could be a police officer anywhere in the world, I would probably choose. That's tough. I would probably choose somewhere like France, somewhere that I can get a different look, a different aspect.
I want to say don't quote me, but I want to say they don't have guns, but they do get more stabbings. Would you be comfortable with that?
Yeah, I'll be comfortable with that. I'm pretty good with my hands. I'm 12-0 in this profession. Remember that.
Congratulations. Call you Officer Mayweather. Oh, what's the interview and application process like?
It's pretty the interview and the application. With the application, it can be like a book. I ain't gonna say it's standard. You know what I'm saying? The application can be anywhere from 10 to 15 pages. Yeah, so they want to make sure that you're qualified for the position. The background is what's extensive. You know what I'm saying? When you the application, like I say, it's pretty thick. You know, the interview is a standard, pretty much any standard interview. You know what I'm saying? They want to know your positives, your negatives, who you are as a person, your past experiences, if you have any in law enforcement, your educational background and things of that nature. So that's pretty standard. The background, they're gonna want to know about any past contact with law enforcement. The department I'm at now, which is not done in a lot of different departments, they do home visits. They come by your home, speak to your family. You experienced that, right?
Yeah, we
both
did.
Yeah, they both did. Okay. Speak to your family, try to get a feel of who you are as a person. I did pretty well. I think I represented me well. Things in that. All in all, depending upon your department, it can go. I'm gonna say between the time you fill out the application and the time you hire, it could take anywhere from 3 to 4 months.
Okay, so I appreciate that in depth.
Yeah.
They're just not hiring anybody.
Yeah. They gonna do a background check. They're gonna take your fingerprints, run you through the system, run your name, run your plates. They want information on any cars you may own, any homes you may own, any bankruptcies you may have. Have you ever been sued? Have you ever sued anybody? They pretty much do a thorough background check. They're just not hiring anyone off the street just because you may have done security at your church for 4 years or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So.
Okay, last question. Do you think we, as in me and Samar, do you think we could become a police officer? Why or why not?
I think y'all can become anything you want to be. You know, if you want to become a police officer, I would say I think both of you guys can become a police officer. I would say work on your discipline because you have to be in decent shape when you first start out. You don't have to be, like I say, you got to run that mile and a half in that police academy. And depending upon what police academy you go to, like I went to Missouri Eastern and I went part-time for a year because I was still working. And we don't run as much as St. Louis County. St. Louis County run every day. You know what I'm saying? Or at least 3 to 4 times a week, no less than 3. And Missouri Eastern is more classroom based. You know what I'm saying? Through that whole year, I may have ran 8 times.
Wow.
Yeah. Because we really only had, it all depends on what type of instructor you have. Instructors, they have to make time outside the classroom. Because I'm part-time, I'm only there for 4 hours. You know what I'm saying? And I had 2 instructors that ran us, and one of them ended up getting sick. So now we down to 1 instructor. And if he's still a police officer, he still has to go to work. So he's not teaching a lot. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, we may have ran 8 times. For you, Samara, I would say you would what's the word I'm looking for?
Her bark back.
Nah, you have to be much. You have to expand on your, I guess, your thoughts. You're very. I ain't gonna really say expand on your thoughts. Yeah, expand on your thoughts
need to
because
listen more.
you're very.
Never mind.
You're very dedicated to your race.
And to her opinion as well.
that's y'all thing. That's y'all thing. Y'all got going on.
Be
But
quiet.
you have to understand that just because somebody is of the African American descent and we've had a greater hill to climb than others, doesn't give them or isn't your responsibility all the time to pull them through, or isn't your responsibility to look over what they've done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Of course, I feel as though you will be greater in some type of advocacy program because you are a lot. You look a lot. You got a lot of sympathy, not empathy, when it comes to African Americans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's not something that can be greatly utilized in this profession. But yeah, y'all could be police officers. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you choose to do, you know what I'm saying? I just want you to be successful in whatever it is y'all choose to do. You know, it's a great career for me because, and not to say I have any regrets or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't give up, but I sacrificed. That's a good word. I sacrificed some of my dreams and aspirations to be your father.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
We appreciate it.
So yeah, you want to show your appreciation, make something of yourself. That's all I ask. That's all I've ever asked. But coming from my background, you know what I'm saying? I don't have a lot of cousins or aunts or uncles and stuff that went to college, and you know what I'm saying? I got one side of my family, my father's side, a bunch of heathens, you know what I'm saying? Lawbreakers, you know what I'm saying? My uncles.
We still love them.
My uncles and stuff. And then I have my mother's side, who are much more work oriented, you know what I'm saying? So I got a little bit of both. I've seen a little bit of both, you know what I'm saying? And I could have chose either road, you know what I'm saying? But as a black kid, you're more so, up under your mother, you know what I'm saying? So you're gonna be around that more. So that's what I gravitated to more, was work, you know what I'm saying? Providing for your family, being a man's man, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I gravitated to more, and that's what I base my life on, you know what I'm saying? Being there for my family. And before it was my sisters, you know what I'm saying? My father wasn't always in the household, in and out of jail, things of that nature, you know what I'm saying? So I had to be a positive role model for my sister. Then it was you guys, you know what I'm saying? Had to continue to be a positive role model. So for me, I take on the responsibility of being a police officer. I take it very seriously because I feel as though I'm setting the example for the people that come up under me that I love, you know what I'm saying? And it's not that it's not a good profession, you know what I'm saying? But if you wanna be rich, it's not the profession. If you're doing it for the money, it's not the profession for you, you know what I'm saying? Is it the best paying job that I had? Yeah, it is. But I'm not gonna buy a mansion off of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be able to afford a Maserati. you know what I'm saying, or nothing like that, you know what I'm saying? But it's admirable, you know what I'm saying? I'm proud of it. I get to hold my head high. My friends and family and look up to me and respect me because of what I endured, and they know that it's not easy to not only to become a police officer but to live the life of one. So, you know what I'm saying? It's a certain part of me that stick my chest out a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I achieved something great, you know what I'm saying? The greatest feeling that I've had as a police officer was the day I got sworn in and my grandmother was there. And it's about to bring me to tears right now. To be able to accomplish something great and to have her in her lifetime and to see me as somebody that's respected and great in their own right, because I wasn't always a good kid, you know what I'm saying? To basically come from a nappy head, rule breaking, school suspending person to being someone that that's respected, here to help, a part of a good community, work and professionally. It was very gratifying and satisfying, you know. So kind of went off on a small speech and tangent, but if that's what y'all want to do, you know what I'm saying, y'all can do it, you know what I'm saying. But I always want y'all to be something. But me and mother always told you, you know what I'm saying, don't be us, be greater than us.
Yeah.
So do I want you to become a police officer? No. I want you to be something greater than that. Will I be upset if you did? It ain't a job, it's a career. There's a difference. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna be upset by it, you know what I'm saying? But I want y'all to be something greater. That's just a parent in me.
And do you have anything else to expound on, or anything else you want to say?
Let me ask y'all, how do y'all feel as being kids of a police officer? Do y'all get any backlash or?
You want to start? Yeah. So I try not to tell people your job and occupation, because people are always ready. A lot of people that I encounter are always ready to knock down the police.
Mm-hmm.
But I know you personally, and I know is a such thing as good cops and bad cops, and there's more good cops out there. I firmly believe there are bad cops. And I know one story that I have. I went on a date with somebody who was super, super liberal and anti-police officers. And he started to go on a tangent about how bad police officers were for the community, and they weren't for the people and stuff like that.
Wow.
And I just let him talk. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, my dad is a police officer. I don't know about.
This seemed like to me that type of conversation would be right up your alley.
Right. No, he was like he was way too liberal. Like he was. What is the word for communist? No.
You wild.
he wanted anarchy. That's what he wanted.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I don't know about all that, but yeah, I'm trying to refrain from telling people your occupation.
Well, I hate that you had to do that.
I'm proud to say it.
Yeah,
I'm super proud to say it.
I am proud to say that my dad is a police officer. If they got something bad to say about it, I just defend you and your character to the best of my ability and go from there.
Because people gonna think what they want to think.
Exactly. But
right, yeah, you can't change people's thoughts and their experiences based off your experiences.
yeah, so yeah, I like having a police officer as a dad, and I like having a dad as a police officer.
That's good to know. That's good to know. Other than that, no, I don't have any. I appreciate us sitting down, spending these times, and answering the questions you have. I must say, this has been very nice for me to have an opinion and you guys not attacking me. Speaking of liberal, you know, but it's been nice, you know what I'm saying? And just to let people know, this isn't a show. We just not doing this for the TV. We sit down, we have conversations.
Without the camera,
Yeah, we agree to disagree most of the time.
Oh, and it's really weird. I am so glad that you all got this and it's so good.
All right, Mom.
It is right in my space and this, and it's good.
Do you have anything else to
Put
say?
some in there around.
No.
All right, y'all.
Well, that's
I just had it.
our first episode or first series, whatever you want
Alright.
to call it. Hopefully,
Glad I was able to help and support.
Thanks
Yeah.
for coming out, you guys. Thanks.
And if you ever need me, you know what I'm saying? I'm here.
Alright, bye.
Put your phone into my couch.